So it's been way longer than a week since my last vlog, and I apologize for that. Things have been a little out of sorts, with my husband taking a week of vacation, and the weather has been crappy, and the kids have had events, so it's left a little bit of free time, but then I started class again, so it's been a little tricky getting things back on track. So hopefully I will start doing weekly vlogs again. That's my intent. The topic that was suggested this week were schedules and structure. And ironically enough, that's fitting since I have not been very structured in my own time. We all know that kids with autism require structure. In fact, all children have an emotional response when their routine is disturbed. Because of a child with autism's complex sensory needs, they deal with this disruption in a much more different, much more intense way than your typically developing child. The same can be said for a child with sensory processing disorder, when your sensory system is so out of whack compared to what the rest of us feel with our senses. It can send a child into a tailspin. We all know this. Routines provide predictability. And the important part of that is when they can predict what's going to happen and they know what their day is going to be like, they have a sense of relief. Their anxiety levels decrease. And we all know that anxiety is an extreme feeling that your body can go into. It can put you into crisis mode. And we don't always need to have something major happen to do that to us. So it is really, really important to be diligent with your routine. I even strongly encourage schedules, very detailed schedules, down to the minute schedules, especially at first. The cool thing about them is they'll be a great tool for you and will broaden the amount of things that you can teach your child. Start with a schedule that's applicable to your child. If they can't read, make it a picture schedule. If they're a visual learner, even if they can read, you might still want to add pictures. The goal is to teach the coping skills of dealing with the changes of their schedule. But in order to do that, the schedule needs to be made. I am a strong supporter of making it as detailed as possible at first. If they have 10 minutes to eat breakfast, give them 10 minutes on their schedule to eat breakfast. Their showers, waiting for the bus, school, whatever it is. If you're doing your schedule at home, I would strongly encourage one done at school as well, because it's going to be more impactful for your child if they're learning these techniques, these coping techniques, across all environments. What I encourage you to do is have a whoops card or a question mark card. And when something happens in the day that's not accounted for on the schedule, add that card. Put it right on there. Talk to your child about, first, the mailman came and we have to sign for this package, but then we'll pick right back up where we left off. Whatever it is that's upsetting him or her, whatever has disrupted their routine in their day, put it on there. Talk about it. Explain to them what you're going to do. Let them see that as soon as this interruption is done, we go right back to the scheduled items. Be firm. This is also a great way to teach responsibility. We all know that there are times of the day or activities that your child doesn't want to do, whether it's cleaning their room or taking a bath or a shower, homework. Kids don't want to do everything that we ask them to do. If that's on the schedule, it's a great time to teach them, first, we have to do this. When this is complete, we'll move on to the next scheduled event. It's also another way to give them choices. You can add a choice piece to your schedule. Let them know that that's a time for them to take control over their schedule and decide what we're going to do. And it's okay to give them specific choices, whether it's go to the park or go get ice cream. And it doesn't even have to be, excuse me, it doesn't have to be positive in their eyes either. Give them a choice. First, we're going to clean your room, or we're going to take the garbage out. Whatever their chores are, you can still give them that choice. Give them some sort of control. It's going to teach them responsibility. It's also going to take the blame off of you as a parent. If you ask them to do something that they clearly don't want to do, it's easier for them to be upset because it's on the schedule versus, I hate you, you are a slave driver, you don't love me, whatever your kid says. These are things that my kids say. They'll less likely lash out at you and target you with their anger and be more upset that it's on their schedule. It's okay when things don't go smoothly. I mean, we understand that they're not always going to go smoothly. Explaining to everybody that works with your child the importance of predictability is something that we've all got to step up to the plate to do. If you have a kid that doesn't deal with change and transition very well, let people know. Let the teachers know. Let the bus drivers know. Let therapists know. Because there are a plan of actions that we can all take. And if we all work with our children and teach them that it's okay to not know what's going to happen next, or it's okay to accept something that's not on your schedule, they're going to be better off. Doesn't mean they're not going to be routine oriented, because they are. Another great tool is time timers. They're very visual. A child can see how much time is left because there's white and red specifically right on the clock. You can get watches as well. Really, really cool things. If you have a kid who is a time watcher like mine, when it's 2 o'clock, he knows it's bus time. He doesn't want to wait till 2:02. Teaching them, first we must finish this before we do this, is really important. And if you have that schedule in front of you and in front of them, and they can see it and read it and know what those expectations are, then they're more likely to not have complete anxiety-ridden meltdowns over disruptions in their day. But in addition to that, I do implore you, and by the you, I don't mean those raising these awesome kids, but those witnessing anxiety-ridden meltdowns due to a disruption in their routine, be understanding. That kid you see at the store that's throwing a complete fit doesn't always have to be a brat. They might, and it might be a result of poor parenting. But what I ask people to do is, before you judge, before you say something rude or something that could hurt someone else, I implore you to try to understand that everybody is going through something. And if we try to understand that, then we're less likely to be judgmental or harsh or hurtful. What you see on the outside isn't always what's happening on the inside. And it seems silly to say that just a simple disruption in their routine is minor to kids, but it's not. It might seem minor to you and I. It might not make complete sense to you, but one disruption in their day, one change in routine, can have a long-lasting negative effect on a child. Especially this time of year, kids are finished for school and they're off for summer, and their entire day is ruined. Their routine is a mess. Some kids don't have any routine over the summer, and that just leads to more impactful behavior issues. So, just understand. The same thing can be said when school starts. For some kids now, for my kids in 4 weeks. understand that when they transition back into school, even though they're back in their quote-unquote normal routine, they're still going to have a hard time adjusting, and we've got to give them time and support and understanding, both at home and at school. If you meet them where they're at and talk to them in a way that they'll understand, things will be less messy for everybody involved.